So, PlayStation lost its respect for us players a long time ago. Genuinely, I think we're just catching up. So, here is my notebook on facts. Lately, I've been, you know, immersed into this topic called critical thinking. Honestly, not a lot of us have critical thinking. Yes, but it's true, right? I've been obsessed with the entire, you know, topic of it, and I wrote down facts as to why I think PlayStation kind of lost its respect for us fans, and we're just catching up. All right, here I go. Fact number one. Let's look back at the previous generation. Every PlayStation came with a disc drive. PS1 did, PS2 did, PS3 did, the PS4 did, and yeah, the PS5 did, even though it came out in two versions. The most profitable PlayStation ever sold, the best PlayStation ever sold was the PlayStation 2. And I'll tell you why it sold as much as it did. It didn't sell because of the games. It sold a lot mostly because people at that time found it found out that buying a DVD player was more expensive than buying a PlayStation. Yeah, yeah. I found this out in a documentary about PlayStation, From Bedroom to Billionaires, a PlayStation story. It's quite an interesting documentary. Alright. People who didn't have DVD players would rather buy a PlayStation 2 and use that as a DVD player. And in return, they kind of got blessed with the PS2 on the side. PlayStation capitalized on that. It kind of became a slogan for them, Why don't you buy a PlayStation 2 as a DVD player and then get a PS2 free, right? At that time, people were really hung up on their physical media, until later down the line, a few years, whole last decade actually, and then everything started becoming digital. Now, fact number two, right? Sony's disrespect kind of came right on the release of the PS5 physical and digital, and that was a sign of disguised under choice. Let's be honest, guys. We all have a choice to either go digital or physical. But let's think about this, right? Human beings always like to change their minds, right? And if you bought a digital PS5 at that point in time, it was $100 less than the physical version. Sure, it was digital, but then later you'd be like, maybe I really needed, a physical copy for myself because you wanted it. It's your choice. But then it was too late. You already had a digital version and you couldn't get a physical version. You definitely had to go out again, out of your way, and buy a physical version of a PS5, spending an extra $500, which in hindsight is a terrible decision. But they psyoped us. They brought it under the disguise of you having a choice. Fact number three. When that didn't work, right? 3 years later, they released the slim models with separate disk drives and still priced at $500. And still under the disguise of expenses and made with cheap plastics. And that disk drive sold for a crisp $80. So you're telling me that I'm getting a PS5 on the regular market price and I'm not getting a disk drive. Sure, yes, you added a 1 terabyte SSD, but come on, bro. It's not enough to make me spend an extra $80 on a disk drive. It's stupid. Are you seeing the timeline? I mean, at that point in time, we didn't see it, did we? Right? It just came out as an inconvenience, and we're like, oh, okay, it's an extra $80. Let's just get a disk drive with it. But you shouldn't have to get a disk drive with it. They were planning something, but we didn't see it then. I'll get to that. Now, the next fact is this, right? Again, another 3 years later, that's after 2023, they do it again by announcing they are going discless in big 2026. You can see the timeline as it's building up. 2020, 2023, and now 2026. 3 years interval. They just kept building it up, testing our tolerance, probing at our tolerance. They just kept prodding at it, at our boundaries, testing us, seeing how far they could push us. And they are fucking winning. Right? They are fucking winning. Again, another fact. The fact is that yes, they have been pushing at us. They have been pushing at us, pushing at our boundaries. They released 2 versions of the PS5 in 2020, like I said, under the disguise of us having choice. But really, we didn't really have a choice, did we? PS5 Slim, again, they took away the choice. Yes, they did. They took away the choice when they released the PS5 Slim. It was either you went digital or you spent an extra $80. It was like they were testing us, they were pushing our boundary. They were like, you know what, let's take away the disk drive and see what they would do. And people actually bought disk drives. Yes, they did. Because we really need our physical media, don't we? We need our physical media. By the way, a quick Google search actually, showed me this. During the release, I asked Google how many digital copies were sold. It kind of told me that Sony didn't release an official statistics, but you see, they wouldn't release a statistic because nobody really actually bought this into this digital, frontier. People did buy it, but not a lot of people bought into the bullshit at that point in time. It was mostly physical version of the PS5 Slim. Now, and for my final fact right here, right? The fact is that this entire generation was a test run of what they could get away with. And yes, they are still winning. They are winning in the sense that now they've told us that they are not going to release, physical games anymore come 2028. And I think they really mean that. And they think they are winning. They think we can't do anything about it. Well, I'm here to say that the consumers are always right, and we will do something about it. It's just a matter of time. They can't win forever. I mean, it might look like they are winning now, but they won't win forever.